Oh, Mama Jamma, do we have a lot to talk about here tonight? You got EA Sports out here thinking that Tiger Stadium, Death Valley, is not the loudest venue in the country. It's not the toughest place to play. Maybe they think it's the loudest, but they surely don't think it's the toughest place to play. They think it's Kyle Field at Texas A&M. Speaking about Texas A&M, their head coach or head baseball coach is heading to their biggest rival, Texas, which we talked about last night. The concern has already poured over, maybe rightfully so, about Jay Johnson. Could he leave to be the next Aggies head coach? I just can't see it. I just cannot see it. Opinion. What do I warn you about on this show all the time? My opinion does not outweigh facts. Therefore, my opinion tonight could be wrong, and facts could come out later. Who knows? I just can't see it. We'll get to all of that. Also, we continue down our path of talking about each position group for LSU football. We've done the defensive line, mainly at DT to some degree. We did corners last week in the passing game. Tonight, we're going to talk about safeties. And we'll get to linebackers last, okay, because I think that Greg Penn has a potential to do something very special. We'll get to them next week. There is one position group that if you have help you and develop and shine, I think LSU could be fine, not great, fine defensively. Do they have a big step, that being the safety room? Yes, they have a big step that they have to leap. Can Blake Baker scheme up some things? We talk on that tonight here as well. Oh, and we get to your comments at the end of the show. I'm going to tell you this. Unless you super chat, I am not taking any more of your Corey Raymond comments. Because if I take comments at the end of the show here, I just refuse to take any single Corey Raymond comments. Because today, boy, let me tell you, while everybody else's houses may have been burning, y'all sure as hell were trying to give me the business on the conversation we had with Carter last night about Corey Raymond. It's fine. You can have your opinion. One quick thing, though. If you're going to talk about Derek Stingley, you better call him by the right name. So I'm not going to have a conversation with you if you're constantly trying to debate a football take, which I do not mind really good football takes. I welcome them all the time. Every single comment of me talking with you on social media in and of itself is a debate. Mostly. I like debates. What I do, and people call me very confrontational for going towards debates and questioning things. It's fine. I can live with it. People think I'm an asshole. Okay, maybe a little bit. But if you're going to debate me and one of the best players from a talent aspect that has ever crossed in Derek Stingley, from just being a pure overall athlete, forget what he did on the field, you better get his name right. His first name is Derek, not Daryl. Just not going to happen, man. Not going to happen. I welcome debate. What I'm not going to welcome, and I get spirited into debates. What I'm not going to welcome is you thinking that I'm talking ill or anything about the relative things and concerns that I have. If you don't agree with my concerns, guys, by now it's been since January, and you've known where I stood. Blake Ruffino can be wrong. I don't think I will be. I could be wrong. And I never really gave you a take. What I did is I said, hey, here are my level of concerns for Corey Raymond. This is where I stand. Could he prove me wrong? Yes. Do I think he's going to prove me wrong? Clearly not. So I understand everything that you've been saying. I'm not fielding those questions. Okay. Brandon Reese says Tiger Stadium is the loudest from the 225 to the 505. Brandon, where is the 505? Love to know where that is. Maybe it's in College Station, Texas. Maybe you can go help Coach Schlossnagle pack. Jake Roberts says JJ would be a fool to leave LSU for Texas A&M, but he spells it ass. For ass to mouth. Yeah. Yeah. Jake Roberts says Death Valley at number 3 in the NCAA game for toughest places to play is criminal. Vastly criminal. Vastly criminal. LSU is not the only one that was abysmal. LSU, though, has, even if you want to debate in the top 3, all right, whatever. But Kyle Field at number 1, and then their excuse was, well, we look at home record, we look at all this. Okay. So yeah, about that, they're 24-20 since being in the SEC at home. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but it's just the truth. Chase Abear with a $4.99 super chat says, Blake, what do you think about Sage Ryan, a move back to corner? Chase, I think that's a very good question because tonight we're talking about safeties. I will use this lovely and beautiful super chat to answer and preface a little bit of that conversation. Guys, ironically, Sage Ryan, okay, I think is going to be a big topic of discussion tonight because if you're going to play him at safety, I mean, guys, you got to have the safety play be better. He's going to be a very big vocal point. In reference to moving him back to corner, I think you have to keep that option open at any given moment. I don't think the boundary is good enough. I don't look. Say whatever you want to say. I don't think it's good enough. Just being real. Now, can I be proven wrong? Yes. Is there a very strong situation where you get into a game and you have to tell Sage, hey, we need you to go back out to corner and be on the boundary? Very strong possibility. I don't know that yet. You hope that you're not having to do that because he'll be at safety, arguably all fall. And so we'll see. I really hope not. I hope you can put him back in his real position, and I hope he plays better. We'll talk about him. Major Burns will be a big vocal point here tonight. And so will Jordan Gilbert. I picked those 3 because of one specific reason. We will talk a little bit about Deshaun McBride, but we got to talk about something that, look, if you advance here, I can see where you could do some very unique things to be very much better defensively. You got to take that next step. Mark Allen says the 903 checking in East Texas. Brandon says, Blake, I'm actually in New Mexico. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Yeah, that's where your boy John Jones is at. Isn't Albuquerque where Heisenberg is from too? Wasn't that show shot in Albuquerque? John Jones. Maybe the best fighter of all time. Jamie Wittenberg says, so we gonna stink again on D. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Cameron says from in Lubbock, the 806 checking in, originally from Sulphur, Louisiana. I've been to Sulphur many a day in my life. I don't mind me some Sulphur, man. It's a great place. Now, I'm sure the people that live there or from there might have a different opinion, but I've been there a couple times. Don't mind Sulphur. I'm an East Coast Louisianian. I'm an East Coast Louisianian. And East Coast Louisianians, man, we don't venture out too far. We don't venture out too far. We kind of stay in our whole little bubble here, from the tip to the top. From the tip to the top. Some of y'all will know what I mean. If you don't know what I just said, if you have no clue what I just said, it was not meant for you. But people in the East Coast, Louisiana, you already know. You already know. All right. Do I think we'll be better on defense? Yeah, I do think you'll be better on defense, Jamie. All right, let's get rolling. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Share to all those groups. If you're on Facebook, share to all of those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you get to podcast, rate, review, and subscribe. Let's talk about our good friends over at betonline.ag, our good friend Tyler Alexander over at LPT Realty, and our good friends over at JJ Exterminating. Got lots and lots to talk about, man. It's going to be an electric show. You're going to want to stay with it or stay with us during this break. We're back next. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
We're back. All right. So, obviously, some big news today. We'll get to that in just a quick moment. Guys, I got to admit something. And I hate people that probably won't see the clip when we clip this. I have been very excited, okay, to play this next NCAA video game, okay? I've loved every single second of it. But today they really hurt me. Because today, EA Sports came out with their new video game toughest places to play list. And I was expecting, when I read the headline, actually Joe DeLeon, my national co-host for college football, is the one who told me about it, said, dude, look at this. They got Kyle Field over LSU as the toughest places to play. And I thought he was joking because Joe went viral because he said Kyle Field sucked. It was just a big ordeal. I thought he was making a joke. But then I clicked on this. And in case you missed it, EA Sports came out with this list of toughest places to play. Now, I'm not going to go through all 10 because tomorrow I will. Tonight, I want to go through just a couple of them. Number one, If you're listening on podcast, I'll help you out here. But the top 5 toughest places to play, allegedly, from EA Sports. Number 1, Kyle Field at Texas A&M. Number 2, Bryant-Denny. Number 3, Tiger Stadium, LSU. Number 4, Ohio State, Ohio Stadium. And number 5, Stanford Stadium in Georgia. Stop, pause, stop what you're doing. How in the Rudy Poo do you have Kyle Field in the top 5? It's not even remotely close to being in the top 5. Now, about a month ago when me and Joe went viral, I defended Kyle Field. You're not a top 5 stadium in college football. Sorry, you're not. I know it gets loud. The 12th man, you got all the cheerleaders out there. Hoo, hoo. I know it gets cultish. I'm with you. Not saying it's not in the top 10. It probably is in the top 10. It's not at number 1. 20 teams in the SEC have come into Kyle Field over the last decade plus and won football games against you. 20. 20 opponents have made their way to College Station and beaten you at home. So, no, nobody believes it's a tough venue. You beat Bama once. Congratulations to you. Congratulations, in the 12-year span, you beat them twice. Now, it's up there with some of the other teams because not a lot of teams have wins over them. I'll give you that. It's not a top 10 or top 5 toughest places to play in the country. Now, well, of course, the LSU guy is going to come out here and defend Death Valley and Tiger Stadium. Guys, there is no place better. There is no place better to be on a Saturday night than in Tiger Stadium, Death Valley. Because when the sun goes down, or even before then at 2:30, the Pantheon in steel will be shaking all night, especially in a high-profile game. There is a reason that national reporters, people, even the greatest coach of all time has labeled Tiger Stadium, Death Valley, the toughest place to play. It's not even on another list. Now, I know that LSU fans have issues. They have off the field, literally, issues. Parking, traffic, venue. I get all of that. When you get inside that stadium, like if you remember LSU in 2022 against Alabama, I highly encourage you to go to a video clip of that game in the fourth quarter. Guys, the stadium was literally shaking. And not only that, it registered on the Richter scale. When that place is packed the way that it needs to be. Because everybody on this list deals with, when you play a Rudy Poo opponent, you're not filling out every single seat. It's not an LSU thing. It's an everyday thing. Now, 11 a.m. game, hit or miss. It's going to be hit or miss in Baton Rouge at 11 a.m. on Saturday. You know who else knew that? ESPN. Because you only have, if you're an LSU fan or an LSU team, one 11 a.m. game, and that one's on the road. Everything else will be at 2:30 to 7 p.m. start Central Standard Time. And because of that is, they know the profit that they can make at night in Tiger Stadium in Death Valley. Guys, they've been doing it literally for the last decade plus. And now that they have all the rights to the SEC, they are going to put a team like LSU that sells at night. Guys, every single year. And this happened this year, actually. Did you know that every time a sport has broken a record, football, baseball, and women's basketball, the teams that have played in the game that's had the highest viewership has been LSU. The 3 highly watched college content. Men's basketball does not have as many eyeballs than women's basketball does at the current moment. LSU has been a part of all of that. It comes based off of, number one, being the environment and everything you get in the bayou at night in Death Valley. There is no better place. Now, I have a bias, and I understand that I have a bias. I'm cool with you thinking this guy is a Tiger dude. He's going to always be biased. I could make an argument if you put LSU at 2, you put LSU at 3, and you came to me and said, well, Blake, I mean, with all due respect, I mean, you've had some pretty bad losses at home. You know, Tennessee a couple of years ago. You had a lot under Ed Orgeron. I'd be like, okay, all right, fine. I get it. But nobody in their right mama can come out here and say that LSU doesn't need to be number 1. Here's my number 2. And I think this is going to shock people. If I had to pick a number 2, it would be Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. I don't know what it is about that place, man. I think that maybe just the rivalry that LSU has had, but, man, teams that go in there, I'm battle for their lives, man. Battle for their lives. When Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, which even though they have not been right under Napier, they are still showing up. I think it's the second loudest place that I've ever been in my life. I think it's the second toughest place that I've been in my life. In the fourth quarter when Richard Petty comes on, brother, I'm just going to tell you, you will never see that many rednecks in overalls or jean shorts in your life in one place. It's like a convention. It is the Jort overall wearing convention. And if you can't get past that, you're going to have a pretty big problem, because those jorts with the hammer pocket on it is going to legitimately be rocking. There was one, though. There is one in this top 10 list that did not make EA Sports toughest places to play. Guys, Auburn and Jordan Hare. How in the Rudy Poo? How in the Rudy Poo is Jordan Hare not on the top 10 list? It might be tied with Florida as the toughest places or loudest places that I've ever been. Now, I understand being loud doesn't mean toughest. Man, you had Georgia and Alabama go into there last year in a first-year Hugh Freeze type of scenario and barely walked out alive. Let me say that again. With Peyton Thorne as Auburn's quarterback last year, the team that should have been in the playoff, Georgia, in my opinion, and a team that did win the SEC and did make a playoff, quite honestly, if we're going to boil it down to a lot of situations, one of them's one play away and the other one is 2 plays away from might not walking out of Jordan Hare alive with a win. Man, the Northern Alabama people of Auburn, look, man, when that moonshine starts coming out and barns start burning, there is no place. Well, barn burned here, but you get what I mean. You get the scenario that I'm trying to play there. All I'm saying is Jordan Hare not being on this list for EA Sports is criminal. It 100% is criminal. I've never in my life thought I would defend another SEC school like Auburn as I would today. And I will just tell you, dude, it's purely insane. Purely insane. All right. I see some of your comments. Cole Adams says Auburn and the Swamp were my top 2 hated stadiums. Yeah, it's tough to be there, though, man. KLS says Jordan Hare is hell on earth. 100%. 100%. Chase Abear says Josh Pate put Tiger Stadium first, and that's my man. And listen, if Pate says it, got to be true, man. I love me some Pate, but I am just going to tell you, I'm pointing the wrong way. It doesn't matter. He's not wrong, man. There's just not a place like it in the world, in my opinion. I know we got LSU stuff all over the place here. This guy's biased. Fine. Call me biased. But, man, I am telling you, until you've experienced being in Death Valley at night, you have not witnessed college football, in my opinion. I've been to a lot of places. I haven't been everywhere. You know, I know that, like, Pate goes to, like, he went to Washington last year. He goes all over the world, all over the country to go to college football games. That is amazing. The bottom line, though, for me, okay, this isn't just us saying it either. I mean, you have outside bias putting it at number one. And let me tell you this, LSU's probably going to have two of them this year. The two that LSU is going to have this year is, we just got done talking about it last week, which a lot of you don't believe what I believe about Ole Miss. But October 12th against Ole Miss is going to be hell on wheels for both teams. But Ole Miss, let me just tell you this. If Ole Miss, who will be undefeated coming into that game, guys, their schedule, let's call it what it is, their schedule is light until they play LSU. They are going to be at night in Baton Rouge, probably 7 o'clock prime time, when that ball's finally kicked off. And if they win that game, guys, you're going to have to give them their flowers. But if LSU wins that game and continues to progress and do well throughout the season, the second game that might just mean a playoff berth for them might just be Alabama for both teams, right? Like, I feel pretty confident in saying that I think Alabama has a loss before in the game when they go into November against LSU. I got to be honest with you. I also think LSU is going to have a loss, at least, going into that Alabama game. It might just be that you're in a very big scenario like you were under Brian Kelly in 2022. And if you don't lose that A&M game, guys, in today's college football, you're going to be in the playoff. So we got two of them that we're going to experience this year, because I am convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt those two games will be at night. I think they'll put LSU at 2:30 more than likely, or who knows, maybe a majority throughout. Those two games will be the prime time for LSU. You can book that. All right. Yeah. I fully believe it, man, in my stinking bones. Okay, let me do this. I am leaning second with this tonight because Jay Johnson, I have filled in more questions in the last 2 hours than I have all day. And as soon as Jim Schlossnagle went to, and it was confirmed that he was going to Texas, a lot of people hit me up saying, Blake, what about Jay? To Texas A&M. So let's get on the Schloss thing very quickly. Then we'll come back. We'll end the show with some football stuff. Man, we're definitely going over an hour tonight. Like, no doubt about it. We're going over an hour. Let me play this, guys. Can we pull up the clip of Jim Schlossnagle saying what he said? In that press conference. Can we pull that up? Yeah. All right. So here is former Texas A&M head coach Jim Schlossnagle last night after he lost a national championship to Tennessee. Basically, in a nutshell, if you can't hear it or whatever, well, no, you know what? Just take a listen. This is Jim Schlossnagle, the former Texas A&M head coach from last night.
A difficult outcome tonight, but with the rumors circulating today about a specific job opening, what do you have to say about your future in Aggieland?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty selfish of you to ask me that question, to be honest with you. But I left my family to be the coach at Texas A&M. I took the job at Texas A&M to never take another job again, and that hasn't changed in my mind. And that's unfair to talk about something like that. That'd be like you asking Montgomery if he's going to sign in the draft. But I understand you got to ask the question, but I gave up a big part of my life to come take this job, and I've poured every ounce of my soul in this job, and I've given this job every single ounce I can possibly give it. So write that.
So that's Jim Schlossnagle, the head coach, former head coach of Texas A&M last night, being very rude to a reporter asking him if he was going to the University of Texas. In case you missed it, oh, man, Aggies. Oh, no. Oh, no. Schlossnagle is gone. Let me start off by saying this because I wanted to be known. I have given the A&M fan base hell the last couple of weeks. I got to start off with this. Jim Schlossnagle is an asshole for doing what he did last night and going to the biggest rival of Texas. He did not have to treat the reporter the way that he did and say that the way that he did based off of all the information that was out there. Okay? Maybe he feels like it was a dig by Texags because Billy Lucci knew that he was leaving, and maybe he's taking a shot at the reporter. I don't know what he's doing there. I'm sure Schlossnagle will feel like he's justified in this situation. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But today, Coach Schlossnagle looks like a dumbass because, you know, everybody gets on the media, right? Like our society right now is, oh, you can't trust the media with this. You can't trust the media with that. And to a lot of degree, I agree with you on that. Like you can't trust them. But this kid, and forgive me for not knowing his name, from Texags, that asked the question, it was not Billy Lucci, but asked him the question, he did not deserve what he got after the move that you pulled today. You know what A&M also didn't deserve? I know that some of you don't feel like they're our rival. You told me you didn't feel like they were our rival. I don't think any program deserves for their coach to just go along with the firing of the Texas head coach the day that you're trying to win a national title game, which, all fair in Texas, it's a rivalry. You got their head coach. I get it on the Texas side. But David Pierce could have been fired at the end of the College World Series National Championship if you were going to get the guy anyway. It's a petty little move for a really good rivalry and what makes it a rivalry. But no program, in my opinion, deserves what A&M just got. You know, you put a lot of money into it. You put a lot of money into and committing to baseball. You go to a national championship, the guy that leads you there, which is a good thing because, look, to A&M, you now know that there is a sport that you can build it to get to a national championship. You got to feel good about that. So what, you lost? Oh, well, you lost. You have a place where if you build it good enough, they will come and you could get there. You know that now. But I remember as a kid, Nick Saban, not completely, but doing something similar. I know he went to the NFL, but he said he was never coming back to the SEC. Boom, he's at Bama. Well, Blake, it's Alabama. I don't give two shits. It's Texas. And his best friend is the AD. I think it's a very shitty move from a really shitty guy. Guys, it has been long known, even from the TCU days to at A&M, and even now going to Texas, that Jim Schlossnagle's an asshole to a lot of people. And he's petty because he was the one that came out, if you remember during the season, talking about people cheating, having video in their dugout, and that the SEC was investigating it so that he could take a shot. I get he just went to a national championship game. Kudos to him. He got there very quickly. And more than likely is going to go to a place that is going to highly invest in football. In baseball, which they are in football as well, but highly invest in baseball to get themselves back to Omaha with a guy that just coached a national championship. And you know what? In the fans of the Texas A&M Aggies, whether they believe it or not, whether they want to admit it or not, in the back of their mind, there's always going to be that thought, did Jim Schlossnagle throw that game? That final game 3, did he throw it because he knew he was going to Texas? Because listen to me, as LSU fans, we know all too familiar what coaching searches are like. You and I, in our brief 5 years together, have literally gone through a shitload of coaching hires and fires. Here's what I know. What I know is there is no way in blue hell that Jim Schlossnagle and Texas did not have this deal done before yesterday or today. That thing has been done. You can try to convince, and his press conference is going to be highly interesting because, when did Chris Del Conte contact you? How did it, all of that's going to come up. I do think it's kind of wild that if you think about it, though, Schlossnagle has coached at TCU, Texas A&M, and Texas. Still has no national titles. Still no national titles. I don't say this often. I feel bad for Aggie fans. I feel bad for any program that has to go through with that. You may wholly and fully disagree with me. Blake, screw A&M. Yeah, I am with you 99 times out of 100. What happened at the end of the day is complete Bush League. It's bullshit. However, it does leave a question, okay, because now they have an opening. And when they have an opening, A&M will spend money. And probably over the last 3 hours, I would assume, I don't know when the news broke, whatever. Over the last couple hours, the number one question that I have fielded by so many people is Jay Johnson in play. And I will always start off a coaching search with this. I never felt like the Texas thing was real. You and I actually talked about that 3 weeks ago. Actually, today. I went back and looked at it. You and I 3 weeks ago talked about Texas opening up and David Pierce getting fired and Jay Johnson being a candidate. I told you then, I told you last night, and I will tell you again today that him going to Texas, I never felt that. And I don't know if I feel him going to A&M either. Let me also say this, and I should have let it off with it. This is my opinion. This is not me sourcing, talking to anybody. I have no knowledge in reference to, at the current moment, of Jay's want to go to A&M. I don't, and will admit that I don't. But here is my opinion. Now, if tomorrow or tonight things start changing, we are very open to and understanding anything can happen. With all that being said, I just can't see it. Coach, you cannot convince me that Texas A&M upper echelon did not know that Schlossnagle was leaving. You know why? because the agent has to talk to Texas in reference to the buyout. This has been going on for weeks. For weeks. And you know what I feel like? What I ultimately feel like is that Schlossnagle probably, I don't want to say didn't want to win a national title. He talked about it a lot, winning a natty. I'm not saying he threw a game. I'm not. It just really feels like yucky to me that your team is competing for a national title and you're having conversations. It would make sense to me, like the Les Miles deal. Remember when Les was going to Michigan? Guys, when home calls, I don't blame anybody for wanting to go home, and never will. Never will. The place that you grew, I will never get on anybody for doing that. Home is a big deal to people. Jesus even talks about home in the Bible. That's neither here nor there. But he didn't go. And based on the reason that Les didn't go is because you played for a national title and you won the thing. Now, I don't believe that if they would have won last night, like if A&M would have won, I think that this thing would have been delayed, right? Do I think that the announcement of him to Texas would have been delayed? Actually, yes. I think it would have been delayed. I cannot be convinced that this thing wasn't signed, sealed, delivered, ready to go. Because it just makes no sense. Doesn't make sense when Texas fired David Pierce. It doesn't make sense that when the smoke came out and Texas leaked it. And I feel like Texas, did that to make sure that A&M and there was players in the back of their mind of their coach leaving. What does Jay Slaviolette do? That's a question that we're all going to find out, I'm sure, soon. In reference to Jay Johnson, I just do not see him going to Texas A&M. If he does, I will be floored a little in the sense that I just don't see it. No coach acts like Jay Johnson, retweeting all LSU stuff and being disengaged. What could happen is that Jay hadn't talked to Texas A&M yet officially, and that he is all on board, and he might get a phone call. I don't think Scott Woodward's going to get outbid on this one. I think he knows what's up. And you know what's going to be very interesting? A lot of people said, well, LSU's struggling for money. They about to find some really big damn money for Jay Johnson if A&M does come calling. And then Jay's going to have to make a decision. Could I see Jay in Maroon? He's a competitor, man. And money can talk. But if you're asking, in my gut, I just cannot see it. I just can't see it. It's a lot like the Mike Bianco thing. I'm old enough to remember when who was the reporter that ever Glenn Gilbo reported that Mike Elko had taken the job as the next LSU head coach. And I remember he posted that around 4:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I came out here at 7 and said, actually, man, I haven't heard anybody say that that's true. Actually, I heard that everything about Mike Elko is that they don't have a deal done with him. Then all of a sudden, Mike Elko gets a contract extension, yada, 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 yada. What doesn't get talked about enough, and you don't want to cut off one hand to talk badly about the other. LSU baseball and the investment in LSU baseball for the field that they are in far outweighs the investment buy-in that you have in football. I think Jay has built a better program at the current moment. That is my opinion. Can Brian Kelly prove me otherwise? Yes. But nobody, I'm telling you, man, from a head coaching perspective, there is nobody better at his job, in my opinion, than Jay Johnson. That would scare the bejesus out of me. And I will tell you, if Jay did leave this place, it would scare the bejesus out of me. 1 billion%. 1 billion%. The relationship he's got with Skip, I think, is a big deal to him. But money does talk. I just can't see it. I am willing to be wrong there. I am willing to be wrong. Could he be a candidate? Could he go? I don't know. Chase Abear with a $9.99 super chat says, Blake, what worries me is Texas has way too much money in NIL and LSU can't compete. From what I have been seeing in recruiting, Texas has beat LSU. What can LSU do to compete with that? Thank you for the $10 super chat. I greatly appreciate with that. See, what's interesting is Texas people, look, man, let's just call it what it is. Texas is rolling and doing what they're doing in collective. I know that there are people out there that says, oh, well, Texas doesn't really have the money or they're not spending the money that they actually have to. I think that that's bullshit. I agree with you, Chase. I think all of that is bullshit. I don't think that it's simple, but I think it's doable. I'm not saying to outbid them, but to compete with them better than what you've competed with them. I will tell you this, and I've told you this, and nobody wants to believe me. I believe that there should be links weekly, daily, sent out from the collective. Please join Bayou Traditions. Why? And I know that there is, there's going to be some news with Bayou Traditions soon. Hint, hint, wink, wink. I know. Now, the real ones of you will remember what I just said. Hint, hint, wink, wink. I know that there are things coming together, and they are working on it. I do hear and do think that Austin Thomas is doing a lot of really good things behind the scenes. I fully believe that. Now, he is working because their shit's actually going to be happening. You got to get the fan base involved. Sorry, I know you hate it. I'm not giving my hard-earned money to no damn NIL. Okay, that's fine, but understand that everybody that is beating you in NIL is doing that exact thing. I ain't doing that, Blake. It doesn't matter what you think, what you want to do. That is the truth. Sorry, man. Oh, by the way, I follow Ohio State's collective. I don't remember their name. I follow their collective on Twitter. Do you know, and I actually turn on their notifications on Twitter. They send some shit out once a week. Ole Miss, the exact same. The exact same. If you want to compete with the best, you got to do what the best are doing. It's like if you're in business or in sales, man. Okay? And somebody in your company, your firm is having a lot of success. You want to know what they are doing so that you could game plan, shift, do something different to get back on that level or get on their level. It's why you listen to guys like Mark Cuban or Elon Musk on how they became a billionaire, what they did. I know that a lot of you read self-help books. I read them all the time too. What do all of them have in common? They see the people that are having success, understand what they're doing, and try to replicate it to some degree. It's all that they do. All that they do. All right. I did not necessarily intend on spending this much time on baseball. We spent 51 minutes on baseball, and Death Valley Tiger Stadium talk. So I guess some football too. But we're not done. And we got a lot more that we got to get to. I do think that there is a position group that if they take a step up, you can be a lot better. I'm going to give you my thoughts on this very intriguing safety room We'll talk about that next. Let us get to a quick break. Don't go anywhere. Hit the like and share during the break. We're back. Stay with us. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
One last thing on baseball. Nolan Cain is joining the Texas staff. I'm just going to say this. I saw today somebody said that, like, Nolan Cain has been a thorn in the side of LSU when it's come to recruiting. Okay, maybe for one guy, but they outbid you for him. Is that really Nolan Cain if you can just outbid? Noob. Jay Johnson signed, regardless if they come to campus or not, signed the number 1 and number 2 overall player in the country in high school, in Connor Griffin and William Schmidt. So, with that being said, Nolan Cain has not been coming into this state taking your dudes. Grow up, Peter Pan. A thorn in your side. Come on. Like, dude, you takes can't be that bad. Come on. Anyway. All right. So a big conversation that you and I have been having during the offseason has really that we're just breaking down position groups. We have started with the corners and defensive line. We might need to retouch the defensive line one more time before we're out of the defensive talk of things. Regardless, we have been going through position group. What should we expect? Where you can get better? What do I think about each and every position group? Tonight we land on what I think is going to be what I think needs to be. Now, I know everybody wants to talk about corner and everybody wants to talk about defensive tackle, but a position group that's got to step up if you want to have success is the safety room. Now, I'm going to give you my logic. I'm going to give you my reasoning. But I will tell you something that LSU does have that I do think can play and has actually worked here before. Let's see what happens again. Guys, LSU has 3 seniors at the safety position all that have SEC experience. You know, last year, I think what happened is we look at Major Burns and all of the really bad plays that he had a year ago in coverage and forget he led LSU in tackles last year. Not only did he lead in tackles last year, he almost had triple-digit tackles as a safety. And where I agree, I think in coverage, Major Burns was a very big liability. I don't know if putting him at the line of scrimmage, though, however, doesn't benefit him more. I'm worried about that star position and what he can do, because taking the leap and the step that we need him to take, I do think is going to be very crucial, because essentially, if you're going to have the star position and have him out there, guys, at every given moment, you are going to have a three safety or have three safeties on the field. You're going to have a strong safety, a star, which they will rotate. And I know that they classify it as different things. But last year, we literally would see during the spring, we would see three safeties on the field every single day. It seemed as if in a nickel type of defense, or a defense that looks like a nickel on paper, but really kind of isn't. I went back through my notes today, and I went back through the spring game today and looked at just how many times you had three safeties on the field. It was a lot. You know, you remember at all times during a spring game, you would have Jordan Gilbert on the field, you would have Sage Ryan on the field, and you'd have Major Burns. The interesting note in all of that to me is this. That is a lot of experience. Now, I am not trying to come down on either one of these young men, but I think it's crucial to talk about. I think that Major Burns and I think that Sage Ryan would tell you both that they got to do better things in coverage at that position. If they can't play coverage, it's not going to go well for you, because you're going to have issues out on the boundary. You're going to have young inexperience out on the boundary. But you have three guys that have combined a lot of starts in this league. You know, people forget Major Burns started in 2022. He started all of last year. And guys, he's back again for his third year of starting play. And what I would tell you is this. I do think that experience does matter. Now, what we saw from Major in the spring, I am very interested to see if he does not take that next leap. Can he? Will he? Does he have the ability? I don't know. But what I do know is, and it's ironically, as Tennessee and Texas A&M showed you last night, I know a completely different sport, but when you go back to 2022 and look at that secondary, man, it was littered with seniors. Littered with fourth and fifth year guys that were back there. Was anybody in that secondary a bona fide number one dude? No. No. There was not. I think Jay Ward was the best of all of them, to be honest. But even he was a highly experienced player at LSU and at safety in the secondary. All very intelligent, very smart. Will just run you full abandon out there. Jay Ward was a very good player here. And so, to be better than you were, you can utilize that unit. You also need a very big step forward from Sage Ryan. Guys, Sage Ryan came in here as a 5-star. And he entered the portal. He came back from the portal because, I mean, from what I was told, LSU really wanted him to stay. They needed him to be a leader on the team and bring unity, because I have no idea what to expect from Sage Ryan either. I have no idea what to expect from Jordan Gilbert. Now, we've seen Jordan Gilbert in coverage at Texas A&M. Now, if he comes to LSU and is bad in the secondary, that is going to be completely different from what we saw at him when he was healthy against at Texas A&M. It will go against everything that we have known from him, being that free safety that can knock passes down. Did he have a rough spring game? You're damn right he did. You're damn right he had a tough spring game. A really tough spring game. Not the player we saw at A&M, though. Can you get enough out of him? Here's my thought. You're going to have that room step up. You're going to have that room to be downhill, helping stop the run. If there's one area that we saw last year that needed to improve, better tacklers, better in coverage, it was that room. I think Jake Olson, for what it's worth in the running game, I thought that room in the running game really improved. Vastly improved. And that's difficult because, look, man, we talk about Major Burns. It's not the inability to tackle. Guys, he had 93 tackles a year ago. I think they'll go in there and get it. But you got to build that room up with fundamentals first with everybody. Literally with everybody. Because you're going to need them to be in a lot of these games. I feel like I know what I'm getting out on the boundary. Young, inexperienced players that have not seen a lot of action outside of Zy Alexander, who, by the way, guys, again, we have no status on. I know the issues that I have along the defensive line. We all know them. You're the last line of defense in keeping you in ball games. Because, guys, there is a real truth and reality to what did Jaden Daniels cover up the last 2 years with his legs? You're the last line of defense of getting off the field on third down, which, again, is a very big issue that you've had in the Brian Kelly tenure. You cannot get off the field on third down. Let's be real. If Matt House, which is so wild, what's even more wild about all of this, LSU led the country in teams converting 3rd and 7+. Not only did they lead that, they broke the damn scale on how many 3rd and 7+ that they gave up last year and gave up third downs. Safety play is going to have to be the thing that helps you destroy that and stop that. Because if you're able to do that and your safeties take that next step up, and they have to, guys, they're your only line of defense at the current moment. Because the only thing that I can see with them, man, that's a lot of starts. That's a lot of experience. Can the light come on for that room? And if it doesn't, then, man, I don't know. I legitimately don't know. And I think you got another one in Deshaun McBride that, quite honestly, I think if you're struggling early, you got to pull guys for him. You cannot go into USC getting burned. People wanted to argue about the Sage Ryan bust in the spring game. He had 3 picks in a practice. Okay. He still, when we have all seen him, looked as if that he was lost. He had no safety in this room that will likely start has any business being lost in coverage. 0. I'm going to make a bold prediction. I think Major Burns in the star position is better than he was a year ago. Now, do I think that he's an all SEC type of guy? No, I do not. Which means what comes along with that, do I still think he's going to miss things in coverage? Yes. Do I think he's going to get better in coverage? Actually, yes. Do I think he's going to be a better tackler? Yeah, I do. because I think they're putting him closer to the line of scrimmage benefits him. I don't know if he's an all SEC type of guy. I don't see that for him. What I do see is, guys, a willing tackler that if he takes the next step, other teams can be in trouble. You know, the first play from scrimmage in the spring game was him batting down a pass, being at the line of scrimmage, if you remember. I have no idea what to expect from Sage Ryan, and he's been here and played more than anybody. I have no idea what to expect. I hope the light can come on from him. I hope that the day that he had against Garrett Nussmeier this spring, where he had 3 interceptions, I hope, and like the pick 6, and I hope a lot of that stuff happens for him. What I struggle with is you need somebody that's got to play that deep third. Is that Jordan Gilbert? I don't know. Is it Sage Ryan? I don't know. And I don't think that you need to call cover 2 ever. Ever. Because when you do, I think you're going to get absolutely abused. You're going to have to know your assignments and know your roles. Guys, if they just know what they're doing, I am willing. Let me give an example. I don't think Jared Bernard-Converse was the most athletic guy ever. What I do think that Jared Bernard-Converse was on the field for you in 22 was the smartest player on the field at all times. That's what I think about Jared. That's what I need your safety room to be. Know every single thing, every single little detail. Your career this year is based off of it. Because if you can prove that you know what you're doing, you're going to play at the next level. Same with Jared, same with Mekhi Garner, same with Jay Ward. And God bless. I hope he's doing better. You know who the ultimate guy was that literally did all of that for you too? Was Greg Brooks. And we don't talk about the Greg Brooks absence last year. The Greg Brooks absence last year was massive for you because he was the leader on that defense. They got everybody aligned and everybody ready to go. I think that if there is something that I give Matt House grace in, it's that Greg Brooks went down. I think that your soul left when Greg Brooks went down. And unfortunately, we have not talked about that enough because of the current situation that Greg is in. Your soul left and was ripped out. And not only was it ripped out from that defense that was so shitty, it ripped it out of the room, that safety room, even worse. I'm hoping for big things, man. You got to have them. Guys, I'm going to say this. Another bold prediction. If you're a playoff team, it's because at the end of the year, that safety room bailed you out. Or the opposite happened and the corners bailed out the safeties. But you can't have both units sucking. I am just going with the experience at the safety position more than the inexperience and things that I have not seen yet. You know, let me say this. I love P.J. Woodland. I love everything that I've seen from P.J. Woodland. I have no idea if P.J. Woodland can come in as a freshman and do good in the SEC. No clue. Not on a week-in, week-out basis, I don't. Not even close. None of you can say that you know exactly what you're getting from P.J. Woodland. What you do know is that the kid early enrolled and beat every corner that's experienced ass. It's based off of it, man. I'm telling you. Listen to me and listen to me good. It's based off of it. Big pressure in the building. With a $20 super chat, he's coming in here hot and heavy. Pause. He says, can we put Corey Raymond on the bench? You know, I told you, I led the show off tonight with, Unless you send me a super chat about Corey Raymond, I'm not reading it. I'll read super chats. If you want to talk about it, super chat it. Look, I don't hate, dislike, have any. I have zero dislike for Corey Raymond. Zero. I have worries, and everybody. Let me tell you this. This is what the funny thing is to me. The funny thing to me is that I say, in my opinion, that I have worries and issues, and everybody else, media, fans that love Corey Raymond and wanted him back here, take personal shots at things that I'm objectively trying to give. I never once have said he's not going to work here publicly. Not once. Not on this airways. Never. I have had very big skepticisms. I don't know if it's fair necessarily to blame him completely on on-field issues. However, if that room does not develop and you're missing recruits, then you have a very massive issue, especially if an in-state kid goes to Miami and you could have had Chevis Jackson. That's the ultimate thing here. I don't know if Jabari Antoine's going to Miami. I don't know if he's going to recommit to LSU. I have no clue. What I do have a clue in is Chevis Jackson was somebody that you and I discussed frequently on this show. He was the guy that I wanted. I'm not making any of this up. Blake Ruffino says he wants Chevis Jackson. Chevis Jackson goes to Miami. Corey Raymond comes to LSU. Jabari Antoine commits. Oh, it's because of Corey Raymond. Then he didn't use Corey Raymond's name. Jabari Antoine decommits. He says 2-on-3 in a public interview. Does Jabari, hey, the only team that talks to me on a daily basis is the University of Miami. That's what he told On3. This has nothing to do with Blake Ruffino. But we did talk about it on the show. That's what's playing out in reality. Hate me, talk shit about me, say whatever you want about me. Okay, that is fine. However, why is it got to be personal attacks about this? I don't understand it. The personal attacks are what get me. Like, why are you personally attacking people who don't agree with the same opinion that you do? Oh, well, it's life. It's politics. We're not in fucking politics. We're having a sports conversation of something that about a hypothetical. I saw this. Thought it was really good. Pegasus says to end the show tonight. Pegasus says, to be fair, I don't know I'm getting what I'm getting from anybody on the defense. You know what? In all honesty, Pegasus, you don't. You don't. You legitimately don't. You legitimately don't. I wish you did, though. Guys, look. How long have you and I been doing this for? How long have you and I been talking together? I mean, 956 episodes. It is very difficult for me to believe, with the numbers that we've pulled in the shows and the show numbers that we've done, you do. We have not had the conversations before. You and I. And look, Blake's a bragging asshole. There have been a lot of things that I have been wrong on. I say a lot. There has not been a lot of things on-field football-wise that I have been wrong about. There has been a lot of things that I've been right about and you still give me shit. You still give me shit. You know, going into last year, I'd said your floor was 9-3, your ceiling was 11-1. And you know what's ironic? The 3 teams that I said that we would lose to last year, we lost to. You remember that? I said we lose to Florida State, we lose to Ole Miss, and we lose to Alabama. Those were the games that you and I discussed. So what we talked about in late June, early July last year is exactly what we're doing again this one. If the safety play does not pick up and it is not above average, you are going to struggle. I'm not asking for elite. I don't know if I can get elite at that safety position. I need you to be above average or average. If I get average play there, I will feel better. You got below average play at it, well below average play out of that safety room a year ago. But scheme, culture, all of that can change with one dude, that being Blake Baker. All right. Couple before we leave here. KLS says, hey, Blake, or has Blake lost weight? I've been away for a while. I have. Thank you for noticing. 40 pounds down. Carnivore, baby. Carnivore, working out, and as I point on my ring finger here, things that wives and husbands do. Those are the 3 keys to success of losing weight. Yeah, 40 pounds. How about that? Thank y'all for noticing. 40 pounds in 4 months. Yep. We're going to get to 100, baby. I'm not stopping until I am not stopping until I get to 100. Not happening. Black Eye says they mad they can't get the Hawk Tua every night. Dog. Slander says that Hawk Tua thing is getting overplayed like a pop song on the radio. No pop song has ever been played in the 2000s more than Hey Ya by Outkast. None. Thumbs up or thumbs down. When you got in the car with your mom and dad and they had on the radio was Hey Ya at some point on when you were listening to the radio. Cole Adams says, Blake, if we play ball control offense, giving defense more time on field, explaining to a young team, could it help us this year? I mean, sure, that's what I believe. Look, man, I'm not telling you to completely stop what you're doing, but I think that you can legitimately do some things to slow the game down. I mean, you know, like Carter's philosophy is score at will. Fuck the defense. Score at will. Well, Carter's a very analytical guy. And I agree with him on, look, man, do exactly what you want to do. But if you're a head coach, you got to know. Brian Kelly had to know going into Ole Miss week. Now, the game got away from him early, and he did not have I don't think, a choice in the matter. But he had a choice against Alabama. I mean, he did. I think philosophy beat you more than personnel did that night. Game plan. All right. Brandon Reese says, wouldn't be surprised if Blake Baker chooses to blitz a lot during these games. That's what I want to see the most. Okay. Look, I do not. If you ask me, Blake, what is the number one thing that you want to see defensively? Is this. What I want to see defensively is you sending more pressure and more heat. Last year, your secondary was abysmal. You know why else it was very abysmal? It's not all on the secondary. They had zero pass rush to help out. If you're going to give up the plays anyway, if you're going to be that bad in the secondary anyway, send the heat. Like the manager says in Major League. Forget the curveball, Rick. Give him the heater. Give him the heat. Send that shit all night. If your secondary is going to be ass, send the fucking heat. Because eventually you're going to start getting home. An offensive line, you're not going to face an offensive line outside of Georgia, maybe. Very slight maybe Alabama. If you send pressure all night, at some point that offensive line is going to break and you're going to start getting home. It is very difficult to pick up blitzes all night long. It's why the most successful defenses in the NFL are teams that are not pussies and don't sit on their heels. Defenses that sit on their heels and let things be progressed in them and react are pussies. Sorry. And I've had enough of it. We had it under Orgeron. We've had it under Kelly so far. Send the heat. All right. Didn't imagine we'd be going this long, an hour and 30 minutes. I also did not imagine that would be the last couple of sentences I said, but it's the truth, and you needed to hear it. We'll see you tomorrow. Y'all have a go in peace.